Survivor News.
Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News.
Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News. Survivor News.
What's up, and welcome back to Survivor News, covering Survivor Season 50. The baby boys are amped up, and you know it's real when all three of us are back for this historic, monumental, amazing, superb episode or a season of Survivor. We are joined by the winner of Ghost Island himself, Wendell Holland. Was popping with you?
It's good to be back. It's good to have the fellas back. It's good to be back for Survivor 50. Let's do this.
And one thing's for certain, two things are for sure. If you are an OG Survivor News fan, then you know this man, and you know he is serious about Survivor. If he comes to the podcast with a buff on his hand, Jack the Stand Atkins, Jackery Atkins, welcome back to the podcast.
Let's go. I mean, you called me buff-handed. I was trying to save it. I'm feeling pretty good, Brice. So I threw the buff on, threw on the Jeff Pro tee, and don't forget your your Q scarf.
Oh,
we're back, baby.
The baby boy isn't playing. Listen, posse, we are under strict orders. Before we started this podcast, Jack Atkins was laying down the hammer, okay? Jack Atkins said, don't jerk no chickens this episode, Brice. I know you just got back from Brice and Win, New York, which was epic, but Jack said, shut it up. Jack said, get to Survivor News. I said, oh, Jack, talk to me nasty if you want me to, but we will get right into this episode per the Jackery Atkins orders, but I just want you to know the baby boys are officially on the road for Brice and Win Present. Brice and Win 50. We just left New York City. We are headed back to our beautiful home of Philadelphia. We'll be there next week on the road to 50. Ozzy will be in Boston. We will be in Philadelphia. Tickets are available. Click the link in the Brice and Win Present Instagram bio. After Boston, Ozzy is going to be in Chicago. You want to see the man, the myth, the legend himself? Click the link in the bio and join the fun. We've got a whole season of tours and cities every episode. Wendell and I are on tour. Ozzy is on tour. So get your tickets now. I'm going to shut up because I don't want, well, maybe I should keep talking because I do want Jack to hit me over the head with something. So I don't know. Well, listen, what you got, Jack? Because listen, I got a lot.
No, that was perfect. I mean, we obviously had to let the people know about the BWP tour, and I'm excited to talk. The thing is, I was so excited to talk about it and hear about it. I was like, we'll probably go on for an hour. You know, people in the comments are going to have some issues. And I figure season 50 milestone season, maybe we have some new listeners. So I was like, let's really get into the episode, talk about it. I really enjoyed it. I really, dare I say, are we back? Is Survivor fully back for all the groveling I've done recently about, you know, some of the new era, some of the promotion for 50. Last night was an electric 3 hours, you know, minus maybe the last 10 minutes. Yeah, that was a little tough, but I want to hear what you guys thought overall. Hit me with your overall feelings, and I kind of want to get into those top line thoughts before we really get into the breakdown.
Well, Jack, you know, me and you never see eye to eye. And I think this season we're not going to see eye to eye because I actually thought Survivor 50 episode 1, it was phenomenal. I knew that was
coming.
The way I did not want to love it in the sense of like, ooh, it had me. I mean, it had me. My gripes of, oh, y'all, I don't like this cast. And mind you, I'm still not that happy. I would want other people, but baby, they made the right decision. And you know how some of the people, well, we can get into the nuances later, but they're like, it's only the older season and the newer era. It's not enough for the middle season, baby. the episode delivered, and I see what they were doing with mixing the newest bunch of crops with the oldies. Oh, it was good. When DZ, it was good. It
Brice,
was good.
I'm gonna have to agree with you. I enjoyed seeing these different personalities come together, seeing the coach and the Ozzy. They're gonna mend it. Oh, wait, no, they not. Like seeing all these things, the new era, the old era. Yeah, I'm here for it. We haven't had a returning season in so long, and we have a new crop of so many fun survivors. We just had 10 seasons, 9, whatever seasons with no returnees. So we have this new bunch, and we have a whole lot of alums that are waiting to come back. And we got this great, awesome season of 24 castaways ready to play the game.
Yeah. Ooh. I think it's a testament to the power of a returning season. And I'm hoping they mix them in a little bit more. You know, they've had times where they do a little too frequently, and that waters it down. But I think for me, every 5 would be a sweet spot. And, you know, I look back at the all returning player seasons that we've had, which isn't a ton, you know, like off the top, all-stars, heroes versus villains, second chances, game changers, where the whole cast is winners at war, of course, whole cast. The only one that's really a little questionable in there, I would say, is game changers, but I feel like there was such a interesting mix casting wise there. But if you just really nail the casting, it's like, how do you miss? You get so many great established characters back on screen. And I felt like that was the case with this episode. To me, my biggest like top line thought that I was excited about was some of the faces that I was a little bit skeptical about going in, and maybe not the most excited about when they first announced it. And Brice, I'm still with you. There's a couple faces I'd still love to see on this season, namely you and Jesse Lopez. But you know, my first reactions to a Colby and an Ozzy coming off like Ozzy on Game Changers, Colby on Heroes vs. Villains, not their strongest showing. And I was a little bit like, have they lost their sauce? This episode, I was really, really pleasantly surprised with how they both came out. Brice is already getting the britches situated.
Okay.
But I was really, really, I'll let you take it a different direction in a second. But I was really happy with off the tail of their last pretty less than stellar performance. I think you can tell in the years since they've built that passion for the game back up, and now they're out there ready to battle. And we're seeing kind of the Ozzy and the Colby of old, but with a more sort of mature new perspective. So I was excited about them, along with obviously all my other favorites that I was looking forward to rooting for. They all delivered as well. So
yeah, for me, one of the things that stood out for me the most, and I find in the new era, I often talk about, is that I'm tired of these twists. I'm tired of these advantages. I'm tired of all of these things. Like, it's like, let's get back to the basics. And I've been a proprietor of that for a while. Ooh. And I have to say that this episode and this season, I love the twist. Every twist around the corner. You bestowing an idol. It's a boomerang. You gotta wait till somebody leave to read something else. And then it's Exile Island. I think with this cast and how chaotic it is, I never thought I'd say this, but bring on more of the layered twist, because with this cast, it is going to add so much more flavor in the sense of you're just never going to know what's going to happen. And with these personalities alone, given these advantages, it was a highlight for me. I was shocked. Like, I was ready to go in like, oh, I'm so tired of this Exile Island. But I loved it. I love the fact that they thought they was going back home. The both said, not today. Get comfortable. I love the fact that they can't read the advantages to the other person leaves. You got to bargain. You got to make, I mean, give me more. Give me more. Give me more.
Wendell, what about you? What was sort of your overarching takeaway from the episode?
I think I gave it already, Jack.
Sure. Okay. I mean, there's a little bit more talking you're gonna have to do.
We're gonna get into the episode. I told you overall, it's good to see these characters coming together. and these eras coming together, and we have the right cast, and there will always be people that we think should be on it. Of course, Brice being number one. Yeah, tremendous.
What about this cast, Wendell, though? Do you think after watching this full episode, is it most intriguing for you?
I love that we're bringing back these like I love that we got 2026 coach or 2025 coach. You know what? I love that we're gonna see him out there doing his Coach Chi or whatever it is. I love that we're getting this dynamic with him and Ozzy. I love that we're getting Christian and his weird mannerisms and his brilliance. I love that him and Devins, and we're getting Devins, the idol man. Him and Christian are trying to, talk to each other, and Devins still, you can't stop him from looking for idols. Like, you get these characters that we've seen, and you get an evolved version. I like that Jonathan is like, we're seeing the gears move a little bit, We're seeing him target people. I love what we're seeing. I love that we're getting, cues back on our TV screens.
Yeah. Is it okay if I add something, Jack? Because I know you're running a strict program today.
Sure.
Okay. And of course, I had to call Wendell because, the thing that surprised me the most was that I know we call some of these Survivor legends, right? And sometimes I feel like we use them too loosely, right? And I think that has been a thing. But let's give Q for an example. Q is our brother. We love Quintavious down, and Quintavious has a huge personality. He owns the room. But seeing Q next to an Ozzy and a coach, and I'm just like, oh my God. And seeing Ozzy still got it. Seeing Coach still got it. Seeing Q still have it. And the fact that, move Q to the side. Let me see Ozzy and Coach. It just speaks to it. It really reminds me, oh shit, these legends are legends. And not to take anything away from the new legends in the making and the new people, but it really does make me like Kobe. Just seeing Kobe talk to Rizzo, just seeing these interesting dynamics. And I'm just like, wow, these Survivor players, they're really legends. And so, again, I know we overuse that sometimes, but I think for this season, we're not using it enough.
And the other thing I'll say to you guys about the overarching, there were some moments in this episode, there were powerful, almost tear-jerking moments. Christian was talking about being a very, very new father. His son will see this one day. Seeing, man, when I saw Q and Kyle on that beach that I was on with Jeremy, I was like, whoa, seeing them hug each other, that takes it to another level for me. When I saw when Kyle hurt his Achilles, the look on Q's face, because I was so ready to see my boys do the damn thing out there. I just this episode had seeing Coach and Ozzy piece it up. I was like,
did they?
I was like, cool. And then
okay, can we just talk about that moment for a second? Because that reminded me of Coach, right? I think, again, when you think of Coach and you just think of Coach, you think honor and integrity. But then you realize it's subjectional honor and integrity. And Coach just showed you again, it was fantastic. It was just oh my effing God.
He couldn't not be Coach. He could 20 years later, you can't not be Coach. But I loved how they hit the sand, shook. They both apologized. They both, and then soon as in the heat of the moment, and then Coach is Ozzy has the little janky fishing rod.
Okay, a little limp.
Okay. Ozzy has the little janky fishing rod. He knocks it down. Coach scoops it up. Whoop, whoop, whoop. You see Coach walking back down the beach, talking about why it was and why he did. Like,
He rewriting history.
he's making all these mental backflips to explain why he's still honorable. It's so great.
I love it.
It's season 50, and I'm on Coach's side. Listen, and the confession of Coach saying, like, I ain't making no damn promises. Speak for yourself, young dragon slayer. Like,
And we'll get more into that moment, but I was kind of on Coach's side. I mean, he never agreed to anything, and it's kind of one of those gray areas. But the other really kind of overarching thing for me that I really appreciated, that wasn't necessarily, it wasn't about anyone in particular, but I really enjoyed the 3 tribes of 8. I think having 8 per tribe was a really nice change.
talk about it,
And
Jack.
it kind of gave me the best of both worlds. I do love a 3-tribe season in general. Now, in the new era, it felt like it got a little stale and a little bit formulaic. And a big part of that is with 6 people per tribe. You lock in with 2 others, you got half the tribe. You basically got the majority. With 8, it's like you might have a small little group of 3, but then it's like, damn, well, we still need to pull 2 people in, and there's just a lot more shifting dynamics at play. Like we see it on Sela, on the Orange Tribe, when they go to tribal. You have Ozzy and Suri. You've got like Jenna over here, like Joe and Savannah are a thing, and then Rick, Christian, and Emily are a thing. There's just a lot more dynamic movement, and you might see a majority vote on the first vote, but then they're going to get to 7. It's like now the dynamic might be totally different. Whereas in a tribe of 6, you hit 1 vote, that group of 3 can kind of just run the show moving forward. So, but I also, a lot of people say, you get 2 tribes, bigger tribes, that you have that. But I also don't mind 3 tribes. It's just more dynamics to keep track of and a lot more different flavors. So to me, I felt like that was the best of both worlds, and just seeing all of those different dynamics. And it's kind of nice when you, at times, like you forget who's on the tribe, because there's a lot of people and you're like, what's so I don't know. How'd you guys feel about that? Especially, I mean, just the increased cast size overall.
For the same reasons, I liked it better than like 3 tribes of 6. I liked it because with 3 tribes of 6, like you said, it's easy to get a majority. In this case, there's a lot of moving parts, and it's you got to play a lot more Survivor. You got to play a lot more game in those scenarios.
And it makes you more exciting, right? When we think of like the Jonathan tribe, where Jonathan is getting Chrissy and he's getting is it Kobe? And where they're essentially saying, D won $1 million. She good. And if this were a regular season, we'd be like, it's a done deal. She's out. But then you see Camilla, Tiffany, and D forming something. And with all of these journeys and other things, it's not a sealed deal, right? And so like that excites me, where there's just a lot more fluidity.
Yeah, that's a great point too. It's like you have enough people that you could actually have like opposing alliances, not just the alliance of,
the dominating
Jonathan and his people, and then it's just D, and she's like, well, I don't even have people. Now she's got Camilla, she's got Tiffany. There can be a little bit of a battle, and even if one person goes from one side, it's still like there's factions. It's not just like in a tribe of 6 when it gets down to 4. It's like, okay, it's me and my 2 people, and then there's the odd one out, and it's just like cut and dry.
Yeah. And again, I'm kind of getting all over the place, but I really want to talk about Jenna, because I want to talk about this dynamic of you're damned. Another thing that I enjoy about this season thus far with all of the player and the bigger tribes is, right, like as a Survivor player going into a new season, right? Like what's the, like, number 1, make alliances. Number 2, if it's not your name, you good. And so like, I think the Jenna arc of it all is so interesting, where it's like Jenna comes out swinging. She's on season 1, right? Like probably, I don't want to say the least memorable, but I mean like the least memorable in the sense of from season 1, right? Like every other season is more current than yours. Like you're on the first season. And so like, it makes sense for you to like, hey, let me identify the biggest threat now, because we need to know that. But it is so interesting because as we see how the episode unfolds, it makes you wonder if Jenna didn't say anything about Suri, what of what's the outcome, right? And that gets me excited because it's like it's a live game. And I think the first half of a lot of in the new era, the game hasn't really been live, right? Like where it's kind of like the one tribe that loses, they'll make an imposing story to make it interesting. But in this situation with Jenna, it really begs the question, what would have happened if Jenna didn't push too hard? And then I beg the question of, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Because normally I'm like, you doing too much, Jenna, you should have just be quiet. But in this instance, I'm almost behind Jenna of the sense of like, let me make it known that Cirie Fields is a threat. Like, because like, and so talk to me, y'all.
What do you think would have happened if she didn't say a name? Do you think her name would have been floated? And Cirie's name might have been floated still,
potentially,
but without her pushing. Can I mention one thing?
Jack,
Jack now, if I may.
You're good.
In Jenna's exit press with Sesternino, she said that she wasn't the first one to say his name. She said she sat next to Christian Hubicki, and Christian said, I'm going to go sit next to the biggest threat on this island. He got up and he walked over and started having a conversation with Cirie. And then she said, all right, or they then came together at some point, and now she's like, all right, I know what Christian's thinking. Let's work this. And then, but it sounds like Christian just masterfully put 2 targets on 2 people and kept his hands clean, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, first I want to echo a little bit, Brice, what you said about being a live game. I do agree with that. I think that's a nice byproduct of these like 8-person tribes where in the new era, a lot of times you see, like you said, there's the target and then there's like the other option that we like sort of see. A lot of times it's not even really an option. Here, this first tribal, we saw 3 options where there's enough people and enough moving parts for it to be like, okay, maybe Cirie's the target, but what if we took a shot at Aussie too? And then there's like all those factors kind of at play. And I do think with Jenna, I mean, obviously hearing about her saying that, I'm sure there was other factors at play, other things we didn't see. They probably pushed it a little bit more narratively than it was in actuality to like tell the story. But I still think, you know, it sort of reminds me, not to bring up like a taboo name in the Survivor realm, but it kind of reminds me of a Varner in Cambodia, where he comes back for second chances after 29 seasons. And he was so eager to play that new school game that he actually came out a little bit too hot, when in reality, he could have just, people liked him. He could have just built those relationships. He did a little bit too much strategizing and it bit him in the ass. That kind of felt like there was shades of that with Jenna in this instance. And I don't know, I feel like for any season, new like all new players, returning players. Now I've never played Survivor, so I don't really know. But to me, it's like day 1 or day 2, it's got to be all relationships. And then once you build those and you build that trust in those bonds, that's when you can start spitballing names, especially after a challenge loss, maybe not right before, and especially not legend Cirie Fields. You're playing a dangerous game by being the one to start pitching her names. And it sounds like, you know, Christian did it in an effective way where you could say that saying Cirie's a big threat doesn't necessarily mean that you want to target her, right? Like if I was on a beach with Cirie or you know, one of the winners, you could be like, yeah, obviously Kyle is a big threat. He just won, but that isn't me saying, hey, I want to target him. But then you give someone a little piece of info, maybe they run with that like Jenna did. And so that's kind of where I think her mistake was.
Yeah. And so often in the new era, we don't see a third option. There's not really deliberation for a third option, let alone a third faction, right? Where it's like they're coming to you saying this option. And I just love the fact that, and I don't want to harp on these like 8-people tribes, but I love the fact that like 2 groups can't come together and be done, right? Like it's like you got to move here, then you got to move over here. And it's like, and as it moves, we then saw, well, Ozzy. And then all of a sudden, now it's like Serene name is dropped. Now they're pushing forward with Ozzy. Now you see it going from the first faction to the second faction. Now you have the third faction going to the first faction talking about Ozzy. And I'm like, this reminds me of what Survivor used to be like. It's like, I just love that.
I totally agree. And I'd add to that of like, and we're sort of over harping on it now, but I really love it. That's why I'm like, so the other thing too is now with the majority being 5, there's going to be hierarchies within that 5. And there's, like you said, little different factions where it's not in us versus them. And it's just like, we have the numbers, they don't. It's like, well, here's my 5. And maybe I'm tight with Brice and Wendell, but maybe I don't know where Kyle and Camilla are at. And they're like with our squad, but I still don't know. So there's like more, it's like, instead of being like, okay, here's our group, there's their group. It's like, here's our group. There's another group. There's another group. What's the dynamics that are at play here? Which I think is really much more interesting.
I also think one of the interesting things, since we're staying on this tribe a little bit, when we got the tribal and we're talking to Joe, right? And I thought it was like so interesting to hear Joe like, I got a wedgie from Kyle and Camilla. And now I like the fact that when Joe is talking to Jeff, he's like, I don't know if having from the wedgie of Kyle and Camilla, I now have these blinders on. And I like the fact that, at least how he described it to Jeff and us, was like, I'm not sure if having this heightened awareness that people can lie to me, but we playing Survivor, Joe, but I'm gonna let you go. But like, I like the fact that we see him being like, I don't know if these blinders are helping me or hurting me. And I think that also adds another interesting level to what happened, because of those blinders, we see everyone unanimously except Jenna voted for Joe. And it makes me wonder, if Joe didn't have that necessary blinder, would there been a more push force? Like, I'm just saying, for me, it just leaves the possibilities in the realms and learning. I think another thing that was so interesting, we got to hear from a lot of people about the 2.0, the 3.0, the 4.0, but not just, people just be saying that, but like, we're getting the explanation, and not only the explanation, we're seeing it. We're seeing it. Because let me just talk to you real quick, if I can, Jack. And I don't want to talk too much, but I just want to say this. One of my favorite effing moments of this episode was Genevieve going to Aubrey. Oh my God. First of all, y'all know I love me some Genevieve. And we learned Genevieve had a hard time getting along with people. Genevieve is trying to lock her people down, right? And so, like, in my opinion, Genevieve comes to Aubrey like, hey, what's up, legend? Just what we got cooking up over here, girl. Like, it'd be an honor to work with you. Now, pause that. Aubrey ain't have to say nothing. We know Aubrey. We've seen the 2 times Aubrey has played. She has gotten 3 times. Okay? I've never seen this in my life. Aubrey said, okay, girl, I'm with you. Wendell, we can work together. Let's go. But let me ask you this real quick, because I don't got time for the bullshit. How you playing this game? Girl, what? Like, what? And normal me would be like, Aubrey, girl, what are you doing? That's not how you play. But Aubrey 4.0 said, I'm not with the bullshit. How is you playing this game? I want to know. How do you respond to that?
But kind of a bad start for Aubrey 4.0, though. We could agree, right?
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. The 3 other times hasn't worked out. So I say, if it's not broken, why fix it? But if it's broken, how is you playing this game? The next time some man want to get intimate with me, how is you? Aubrey, thank you, girl. You want me to do what? How do you want me to? Okay.
But I mean, Aubrey's actually an interesting case, because I was discussing that, watching with some friends, including the great Zach Wurtenberger last night.
Not Wendell. It's season 50 and Jack dropping names. Oh my God.
Well,
Oh.
and this is me giving him a shout out and some credit because he's a great survivor mind. So he posed the question just kind of up top in the episode of who did we feel like had the most at stake in terms of their reputation coming into this season, where a great performance or a bad performance could really change him. And my answer personally was Aubrey, because, she had a really strong showing in Co-Wrong, second place. Obviously, there was a lot of people that thought she deserved to win over Michelle. And then Game Changers, she came back. She made it pretty far. I think she got like 6th, right? Maybe something like that. But wasn't really a focal presence. Like never really found her footing. And then Edge of Extinction, she kind of got clowned on a little bit, at least editing wise. I mean, they had the montage of her going to everyone being like, we should start a dialogue. We should start a dialogue. So it's sort of like each time she's come back to play, it's been a little bit rockier and rockier. And it feels like this season it's starting out pretty rocky. But to me, it's like if she comes out and maneuvers her way to an excellent showing, and it's like, okay, that Aubrey that we saw the first time, she is that good. But if she has a bad showing, it's like maybe that first time was a fluke. So that was sort of my answer for that. Curious if you have thoughts when it comes to her, or thoughts on kind of who has to gain or to lose the most in general.
I disagree with that statement of Aubrey getting a bad start, but I want Wendell to respond because I don't want to hog.
Well, I didn't think her response was the greatest. It just you could cut that tension with a knife between the two of them. And on day 1, 2, 3 out there on this island, the answer is yes. The answer is yes, of course.
Yes, but still, right? Because hear me out. If we all are agreeing to work together, and we're just like, yes, let's work together, great. And then something more advantageous comes your way, Jack or Wendell, the strength of it is tested. I'm like, I'm y'all sus. Like, I'm not playing with y'all. But if we kind of enter in this fraction of like, how do you want to play this game? Just let me know. And then it gets tested and we're like, oh, this works. I feel like that's a more solid foundation. Because, right, like you said, Wendell, the answer is yes. That's what everybody says, right? And so, and then everybody that says that, they get their back stabbed. But, Aubrey just approaching it like, yeah, it sounds about right. But look at all that. How you want to play this game, sis? I don't know. Something about that. Aubrey, I mean, again, listen, I like gangster Aubrey. Like I said,
Right.
How you want to play?
No, I mean, yeah, I think you are getting at something that's true, Brice. But I do feel like when someone's coming up to you for the first time and they're like, "Hey, you want to work together?" Brice, if you came to me and you were like, "Jack, you want to work together?" I'm like, "Yeah," but how you playing though? You kind of be like, what do you mean? Maybe that's a conversation once you lock in where you're like, it's more the delivery of how do you want to play this game together? Do you really want to stir shit up together? Do you want to be a little bit more low key right now? We figure that out. But if it's like, hey, Brice, good to meet you. How do you want to play? You're like, well, how you playing?
Also,
I just kind of wanted to get to know you.
But it's also Aubrey stance, making direct eye contact, pulling on her chin. Aubrey is serious. I don't know.
My thing too, though, is if you're Aubrey, you know that you literally saw Q on 46 be like, Aubrey, I'm voting someone out because they remind me of Aubrey, and that worries me. So you come to this tribe, you already know you might have some opposition, and then someone else is trying to make an inroad with you. I don't know. I'm a little worried for Aubrey based on that reaction or that response.
I'm not.
But I was impressed with Genevieve. I was very impressed with Genevieve.
Again, the 2.0s, the 3.0s. I'm loving to see the evolution, almost in real time and with context, and not just context of the past, context of current future. And even though some people saying, some people are showing evolution, and then there's Rick Devins. Okay, at the Marooning, Rick Devins is like, I want y'all to know I'm from Macon, Georgia, or Macon, Virginia. Georgia. Brice calls me Cousin Ricky, and I'm not looking for idols. Okay. The man is walking with Christian. Okay. First of all, it's hard to follow Christian anyway, because Christian's like, he talk like, yeah, and Rick is, yeah, keep going, brother. I'm listening. What you say? No, it's not here. Oh, no. Hey, but like, it's just like, in my opinion, the evolved version of Rick is Rick, and that makes me excited. And like, it's just like, that makes me excited.
Rick's been waiting.
Yeah. I like what you said about the 2.0s and the 3.0s, because I think we see a lot on returning seasons. There's some people that come back and they try to play the same game. And there's some people that come back and maybe they fell just short, or something wasn't working the first time around. They try to do a full 180. But I feel like a lot of times when you try to do that 180, you're losing a lot of what did work for you the first time. And like the reason that you're there to begin with. And I feel like in the past, it's been the people that can strike the balance the best, like a Jeremy, where you take some of the things that worked from the first time and tweak it a little bit, and then that works well. And it's definitely interesting with the 2.0, because you're only basing it on one performance, right? When Cerie's the 5.0, you can kind of draw from those 4 different games, plus a number of other shows that she's done, where she kind of knows what's going to work and what's not. But for really like anybody else, that it's a lot of 2.0s here, it is interesting. And I'm curious to see how people do with that. And it's also interesting, Wendell, you can speak to this, like as coming back right off a win, where you're like, I won, that game worked, but now that I'm coming back as a winner, how do I also have to factor that in? And does that change my approach as well? Because I'm sure Savannah, D, and Kyle probably you can't necessarily do the exact same thing now that everyone knows that you've won.
Yeah. What was 2.0 Wendell? No, I'm not even trying to be funny. Like, I'm being like, I obviously want to be funny.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. My idea was, it's kind of like Kyle's pre-press. Like, I wanted to play a little harder, a little not as loyal. But I found my people, and we rocked out for as long as we could rock out, and then they picked me off at the merge. But yeah, because I just played and I didn't get my hands super dirty on Ghost Island. I had a great alliance. We stuck true to each other. We made it to the end. I figured, all right, that was a clean game. So now let's get these hands a little dirty. Didn't work so well.
Do you, as someone that played Winners at War as like a Wendell 2.0, do you have like a more invested stake in the winners, the winners that have won returning for their first time? Does that like excite you, or you just like
it doesn't excite me. I'm very scared for all 3 winners that are coming back. And after Winners at War, the way I look at people that played twice as opposed to people that played 3, 4, 5, 6 times, I am those people with more games behind them have more game. They have a bigger sample size. So like me going into Winners at War, I was 100%. I was 1 for 1. Jeremy was not 1 for 1. I remember him at some point hearing him say like, nah, they need to feel that sting. These people, they felt the L's. You know what I'm saying? These winners are 1 for 1. They don't know what it's like. And when you go into a returnee season, when you felt that sting, that loss and the win, or a couple wins in Sandra's case and a loss, or a win and a couple losses in other people's case, like that's such a bigger sample size for you to go in. And you go in and it's all business. And when you've only played 1 time, some of them have only played once without a win. Okay. When you played once with a win, you're that much more skewed in your perspective. You're a great player because you went out there and won.
Yeah,
But you only know success.
it's true.
So I'm scared for the 3 winners. We saw what happened very sadly to Kyle. I'm scared for the 2 remaining winners. I think their targets are way too big. And the multiple game people, I think, have an edge on all the single players, the people that this is their second time playing.
It's a good point, because when you've won and that's the only thing you've done, all you know is shit going your way. And like I think, like you said with Jeremy, he knew both a little bit. And even if it's your first time around and you lose, you probably look back and you're like, damn, that's probably the moment that things started to turn. And I didn't know it in the moment, but now I can look back and be like, I felt I could actually diagnose when maybe the game was slipping out of my hands. And then also knowing like, hey, this is how things went when I won. I know when I'm actually on the right track. Although nobody on this season has that. Nobody has both, because the only people that have won were one-timers. So it's definitely interesting. But yeah, I feel like, Brice, circling back to what you said about just seeing those this happens every returning season, that next iteration of someone's game, and how do they take their previous experience and bring it into play. And some people do a great job and some people don't. Like, I mean, Jenna, for example, I think probably tried to switch gears a little bit too much and kind of lost what had worked for her in the past. Yeah.
What do we think is Rizzo or Savannah's 2.0? They're just 2 weeks off the island.
Great question, right? Because I almost, from this small sample size that we got, I look at Rizzo kind of like Sari, right? So Sari has a 6.0, but like Sari's 0.0, like Sari played the same game, right? Like it's like, it's not too much of a variation. And I think sometimes with people, in my opinion, from watching, is you need to do a 360. You need to do a 180. You have to. But in other times, you don't need to do anything. You just need to be yourself. And I want to speak to Rizzo because I feel like people, specifically like Kobe, before we all on season 49, when we got the cash drop, when they tell everybody, and we all heard Riz guy, we all was like, who the is this? We ain't liking him. I don't like nobody that calls themselves the Riz guy. Fast forward to the first episode, I'm on Survivor News like, y'all, I love him. I love him. I'm rooting for him. And I feel very like this episode, Riz was risen. Riz God was Riz God. Riz God was like, hey, guys, I love you. Hey, Kobe, you're the best. You the man. Hey, guys, I did this back at home. And I think, again, because there's something about Rizzo that we know him personally, Wendell, right? And so we did a Sixers night, Jack, and Rizzo and the Liz God came out, and we had Russell Swan, we had Ramona, we had Jervis. Each time that Riz met them, he's like, Ramona, the queen from Borneo, gone too soon. They shouldn't have voted. Ross, God, that concussion. Oh my God, Jervis. Like, he like that, like, and again, and mind you, like Ramona and Russell Swan, they're like old school Survivor, and they're black they're black people, a little bit older people from Philly. So sometimes, like, when you be too hyped with people from Philly, we be like, whoa, like, calm that down. And like Ramona and Russell were like, at first, like, hey, nice to meet you. By the end of the night, Ramona sitting next to the Liz guy. It's like, it's just the Riz guy being authentic. And so like him, just seeing him and seeing the Kobe take at first, and then Kobe coming back, like, I'm your father. Can you be my daddy, Kobe? But like, I just, but just seeing that, and I'm like, okay, Riz is off to a good start. Riz just needs to be Riz.
Can I really quick, Jack?
Yeah.
Thank you. Brice, speaking to that, Riz can't fake it. Riz can't, and going in with them, nobody knowing who he is, and they're like, oh, this young kid's probably this genius gamer or whatever. Oh, he's tall, he looks athletic. Oh my gosh, he's got, and like Kobe, like, oh, this guy's talking too much. Riz God is so himself. He's like exuberant, he's youthful, and you can't fake, like he can't be this challenge, be super genius and act the way he's acting. He's so genuine and with all of his emotions and everything that like it's so disarming, and eventually you're just gonna love the kid.
Yeah.
And that's what happened with Colby, and it was awesome. I love seeing, and this is the case for life, real life. If you meet someone or formulate some opinion, and then you get more information and you learn a little bit and you can change your opinion. That's literally what we saw with Colby and Rizzo. And in real time, not on the show, we see Colby, like, you know, he gives them the embrace. It's a beautiful thing. That's a great moment.
Yeah.
My one thing about Riz God,
Not too much on the Riz.
I like to see his I liked his arc in this episode, because at first it was like, oh boy, Rizzo, like, and then he came around and he's finding his footing. He's in such an interesting spot, given that, you know, obviously no one's seen his season. All they saw before he came out was his opening confessional from 49 about like Riz God, baby, R-I-Z-G-O-D, which that's going to leave an impression. My concern is that, you know, because they haven't seen his season, I'm a little worried that a lot of these people like Colby are going to be like, this kid's like just a fan that they put out here. It's like fans versus favorites, except it's 23 favorites and Rizzo. And I think that angle could work really well for him in terms of ingratiating himself, of like people being like, oh, well, he's a fan of mine, he's not going to vote me out. But I worry that it's really going to hurt his like winner equity, because I don't think anyone's ever going to view him as like, and now this is not me saying, because we've seen 49, we know the game that Rizzo can play. But if you had never seen 49 and you see him out there, it's sort of like, I'm just worried he's going to come in with too much of that fan energy, and people are just going to, it's kind of giving me like almost like a Nick Wilson vibe from Winners at War, where he was the most recent winner and he was like the youngest guy. And I think people like Parvati and Boston Rob were just sort of like, this guy's kind of a goof. Like he literally told Parvati he had like a crush on her, and Parvati's like, okay, I could probably keep Nick around, but like I don't really respect his game. So I'm a little bit worried that Rizzo, and like I said, that's mostly stemming from literally didn't even see his game coming out with this fan attitude. I'm worried that it'll help him stick around, and maybe he'll be able to pivot off that down the line. I'm sure that's probably his strategy going in, is to embrace that and then make a move. But I think as the youngest guy with that energy that he's giving, I have a hard time seeing like Coach and Colby and Suri and whoever being like, I'm going to award him $1 million off this vibe.
Or them looking at him like, yeah, that's the big threat. Nah, he can hang around as long as he wants, as he wants, or we want him to hang around.
The difference for me is that, yeah, they might not see it, but the Riz God sees it, and the Riz God knows it, right? And it's like,
True.
and that's almost, in my opinion, another facet of the new era that that's a facet of the new era that we haven't seen in a returnee season, because I feel like the last returnee season, Winners at War, I don't think the dichotomy of playing the edit to the fan, like, you know how like now there's the thing that like you play it up for the camera for the fans, and then it kind of like that waterfall effect. We haven't seen that, right? And like we haven't seen the old school return to it. Although I guess you could say Coach maybe is a pioneer of that. So I'm just interested to see, because it's like Rizzo believes in himself, and that's all that really matters. And it's like, y'all don't need to believe it. He's going to show you, but hopefully he gets the opportunity because of what some of the points y'all are saying.
And I do want to clarify, I feel like what I said came off a little critical, but I more so meant, like, I think in Rizzo's shoes, this is what he has to do, is take this approach, be authentic in his fandom, ingratiate himself amongst the legends, and have them look at him like, hey, we can just keep him around. And I'm hopeful, and I'm sure this is his plan, is that down the line, boom, he can make some splashes and earn some respect. I'm just a little worried that even if he plays it perfectly, that this sort of crowd might not really like for kind of the same reasons in 49, where even his splashiness wasn't the most respected at times. I can see that being a similar factor, but definitely rooting for him and was glad that he turned it around even within the span of that first episode.
I feel like that's going to be a big issue throughout the season, and not just with the Riz guy, and which is why I said in our superlative drafts that an old schooler is going to win this season. Like, just because of the 2.0s or 3.0s, just the camaraderie of what we just see already. And let me just go on record, because I want to talk about Savannah, but someone who I'm not always a fan of their gameplay style. I'm already looking at Jonathan, right? But I'm looking at Jonathan this season, and I'm really looking at him. When we saw him and he was like, I'm aligning with the old schools. I feel like my values are more old school. I was like, now we're cooking, because just like Jenna, the problem that I find as a Survivor fan is like, I find that the old schoolers are trying to be the new school. Like, they're trying to fit into this fast-paced 26 game. And yes, it's fast-paced in this 26, but at the end of the day, the building blocks of Survivor is more what's up? You got to be ready. But it's like, what's up? Right? And now you got Jenna like, what's up? And girl, go home. And so I mean it like that, but I'm just saying.
You sound like Emily Flippin.
But I'm just saying, Jonathan is saying, hey, I don't want to play the game like I played the game before. Well, I like to say, my God, you definitely were a ladder. You were a ladder before. However, he can't help that. But Jonathan is saying the right things. And I'm like, okay. Now, I wasn't a fan of like Jonathan's game before, because I felt like Jonathan's game was like, I'm just big. And so like him just saying, hey, I need to be more strategic. Hey, I need to align. I need to go out and get people. I'll be your ladder, but I'm going to come get you. And like, I'm like, okay, Jonathan.
I was going to say something similar where, I mean, Jonathan's, as far as new era representation from 41 to 44 goes, all we got is Jonathan. I thought there was some other picks that I would have liked to see. But I had heard that Jonathan was someone who was like really, like most people, but really, really eager and itching to come back and to really play. And I felt like we saw that even on the welcoming mat at the marooning of Jeff being like, you got to give everything. And Jonathan's like, yeah, Mr. Jeff. Yeah. It's like, okay, you can see Jonathan is here he's got shot out of a cannon. He's ready to play the game. And that's going to be a side of Jonathan that I am, excited to see. It's going to be something different than the first time around. But he's also embracing, like you said, aligning himself with those old school values. I think Jonathan's coming in with a good mentality this season.
And I just, real quick, episode 1, I need everybody to keep that Uncle Jeff. Listen, the same goes for Mr. Jeff. I need that same energy for Jonathan and Mr. Jeff. But I digress. But yeah, I like Jonathan. I like what he's saying, and I see what you're putting together. Now I do see who you putting together, though. I do see it.
Sure. So we sort of hit a lot of the overarching themes. I'd love now if we could pivot a little more towards just not necessarily too much of the minutia, but a little more like beat by beat. Talk a little bit about some of the advantages, the challenge, the marooning, all of those things. And we get that opening marooning challenge where they are competing for Flint and a big bonfire. And then everyone after has to send someone on that journey that we discussed a little bit already to earn those supplies. We ultimately have, I believe it's Vatu wins the challenge, and then Q, Ozzy, and Coach go on the journey. We already talked a little bit about the journey and all of that, but also we see that there's some elements of Exile Island coming back. I mean, what do you guys feel? How do you guys feel about Exile Island?
was it really Exile? I mean, I want to see more of it. I need more. Okay, call me Aubrey. Tell me what y'all doing, Survivor. Tell me how y'all coming, because was this just the one-time thing, or are y'all doing what y'all did at Winners at War, sticking people on the island? Tell me now.
Sure.
And then I'll give you a response, because I thought that was cute. Because again, it's like, take them from the game, make them suffer, and bring them back. But like, I'm just, and it's like, y'all just said bye, Jenna. Because I'm like, all right, Jenna going to Exile Island. At least we'll get to see her. And they said, see ya. Bye, girl.
Did anything else from like the marooning itself or the opening challenge stand out to you guys?
I think it was cool to see these competitors compete, especially Ozzy. Like I know he's been a beast, but like I was trying to see how, what 5.0?
Yeah.
5.0.
I was interested to see him, and like he was out there getting after it.
Baby, I like the pairs. I like seeing the pairs go after the pairs. I thought that was very interesting and very telling, because I felt like, in a way, if you on your tribe, you're sizing people up, right? Like immediately. So I thought like that was just interesting, because immediately we can size you up for physical and what's happening, but also just as a cinematic, just seeing the two people from each go and go and go. Like, I thought that was amazing. Seeing Jonathan on the boat, just pulling the rope. Like, I'm like, well, damn. Like,
and it got everyone involved too.
Yes.
And I feel like in both of these challenges that we saw, it's 24 people, but at least challenge-wise, there's not a lot of room to hide. So I thought that was interesting as well.
Seeing Angelina and Sari throw the rope, like that was like, just interesting. And just even sending the three people off to the journey.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is in the 70s, Gladys Knight and the Pips, and it's on that midnight train to Georgia, singing on the midnight train, getting on the midnight train. Stop, put me on that train right now, okay? And listen, I know Quintavious is my brother, okay? But Quintavious and them thighs on that pole, Ozzy over the way Ozzy climbed that up, and all hell, okay? Shit. Coach now, listen, shoot. Okay, all of them. Baby, I'm at the watch party. I'm talking to people. I see Ozzy, Quintavious, and Coach on the pole. I didn't know what was happening. I'm like, what in the hell? Oh, Quintavious! Oh.
There goes the blood.
Now I'm like, Quintavious, now I know why you wear a Q skirt. Jesus.
Brice just dumped a full bucket of water on his head.
This might be the same bucket that he just created when the britches got wet.
I'm like, Survivor 50, y'all not playing. I ain't making eye contact with Quintavious no more. Okay.
Brice, we still got like an hour to talk.
Brice just ended the podcast. He might have broke his podcasting equipment.
Brice would have won that challenge and been like, I'll stay on Exile with Ozzy. You guys can have the supplies.
I'm just saying. They say like a bottle of fine wine, you get better with time. Okay, Coach. Okay.
Leave my dog alone.
Oh,
how old is Kobe? Because God, Jesus.
So,
okay, time out. Since I'm wet, Michael White, Lord, have mercy. I told you once you can have my White Lotus. You taking your shirt off. You got 6 packs now. 6 packs? Michael White.
Mike White's, he's ripped. I was surprised. I was surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was impressive. Brice, I'm sure you had many thoughts about staying over with Ozzy and Q on Exile, but I'm curious what your thoughts were the next day. They get that dilemma of one of y'all can get the supplies, but you have to give your vote to the other player. If you were in that position, and not, I'm sure Ozzy could have told you to do whatever, you would have done it. But if you were in that position, just in general, what do you guys think the move is? And do you want the supplies? Do you want the extra vote? And how much do you push back against the other person on getting your way? Because an agreement has to be reached.
It's season 50, right? Like, I'm with Ozzy. I don't want to go back with nothing with y'all. And I think Q might have messed up there, right? Like, I understand, like, coming back in with everything, but I just feel like I feel like he gave up the fight a little too soon. And I think that Q feels like he did the right thing. He came back, he has his vote, but ultimately, I think Ozzy, I'm going for that extra vote. We'll have to draw rocks. We're going to stay out here because at this point, I've missed a day and a half with my tribe. I need something more than a pot in a pan. That's my thought.
Yeah, I was a little more neutral on it. Like, I think you go back empty-handed, it's going to raise some flags, and B, it's 24. It's a long game. I'm sort of like, you come back with some supplies, you might just do better in challenges. And like, I know you want to have an extra vote up your sleeve, but also in a tribe of 8, the extra vote a little bit less useful than like a tribe of 6. And I'm sort of like, you if you're able to tell, like, hey, maybe you don't say you sacrificed your vote, but you're like, hey, I earned us the supplies. Like Q said, you look a little more like a hero.
But a hero don't equate to $1 million though. So like, sure, I can like.
I'd rather be a hero than a zero on day one.
But the one thing I thought that I kind of I'm in the middle with both of you, because I thought that Q did let it go kind of quick and easy. But because he has this stuff and he's bringing it back, it's like, all right, you have something. But then I feel like, didn't he tell a story which was totally not what happened? Something about like running.
Well, he added that there was like a challenge where he earned it. And
that's what I'm scared of. Because you're making up this challenge. Okay, Brice has a new hoodie on. You're making up this challenge that other people can verify. It's verifiable if once there's a swap or anything.
Only by Ozzy, but
we see people are verifying. Like, we see people are verifying. So like, that concerns me. And it's like Ozzy now has the upper hand. If say they get on the merge and they talking about it. But for me, I think why Ozzy having that extra vote is more powerful, because say Ozzy comes back with nothing and he comes back to the situation with Sari. Is he more likely to now work with Sari, or kind of like get rid of Sari because he doesn't have anything? But I think him having that extra vote and hearing what happened with Sari and him being like, I got you. We gonna make something shake. I gotta act like, it gives him a little more equity and a little more power. And I dare I say he came back with the pots and the pans and not the extra vote. Maybe Jenna doesn't go home.
I think in that instance, I don't know if it mattered a ton, but I hear you. I mean, look, I'm not necessarily saying like you take the pots and the pans. I think it depends on your position a little bit. And I also think the big thing for me is I wouldn't want to argue too much with the other person. Like if the person's like, hey, I really want this option or this option, I feel like day one, it's a chance to make an ally. You be a little bit amenable or whatever. And I do think to what you guys sort of said is now Q and Ozzy have kind of information and stories that only they know that they could tell about each other. And maybe this is something that we didn't see that happen, but it's something that I hope happened of maybe Q's like, you know what? I'll give you the extra vote. If you'll tell people, if you'll stick to my story that I earned these supplies. And if you do that, then I won't tell anyone that you have the extra vote. And then we both look better, and we're both clean, and we're kind of looking out for each other. And we sort of it's sort of a mutually assured destruction situation where if you say anything, then I'm going to tell people you got the extra vote, or if you tell people I got the extra vote, then I'm going to say he didn't earn it. He doesn't have a vote. I feel that's a good chance to be like, hey, this works for both of us. We can lock something in.
The only thing that concerns me with that is that Q just witnessed Ozzy and Coach with getting the key and winning the thing. Like, this is gonna be a cutthroat game. Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like people gonna play nasty. So, like, I don't know. After, it'd be interesting to see.
But yeah, I agree. But if I'm Q and I give Ozzy my vote, I think I would say, hey, Ozzy, you're safe with me. I'm not going to tell anyone about you.
Yeah, no.
At least say it. And then maybe, obviously I think you have to think in advance about when I get back to camp, what am I going to say happened? And I like Q's angle of making himself look a little bit better.
True.
But to that point, to exactly what you guys said, you have to make sure that story is corroborated. So I'd say, Ozzy, you're safe with me. I'm not going to talk about your vote. But if you could do me a favor, I might say that I earned these. If you could back that up, that would be great.
Jack, I was surprised to not see people cutting many deals on these journeys. That's what I was surprised. Like, I was surprised to not see that, or maybe we just didn't see it. Maybe
I don't know. And it's a good. I like that you brought that up, because to me, I'm sure there's always probably conversation about like, we should work together if we ever get together, right? And then, but it's like, how deep does it get? Because if Ozzy and Q cut a deal like that, it could be a little complicated. And so it's like, would they even show that 3 to 3 minute conversation of them like figuring out those details of like, all right, here's what we're gonna lie about.
But even if it's like, hey, we're gonna work together, or there could be a situation where it's like we might get flashbacks, like we might get some flashbacks. But yeah, we've seen people go on these journeys and be so hyped and work together or whatever, and we haven't got.
I feel like people are still maybe measuring each other a little bit and just feel. But I agree with you. I think the journey is an opportunity to be like, I'm working my tribe, but here's an opportunity to make an inroad with someone else on another tribe that could really pay dividends. And maybe people aren't always maximizing that.
But even pitching that also leaves you exposed.
Right.
And this is a returnee season. So like go ahead.
It's a dance for sure.
Yeah.
But clearly they're setting the stage, because we see how many people have come in contact with each other. So like they are setting the cross pollination. And so whether it happens or not, they're putting the opportunities. How many people are on this season? 28?
24.
24. Why aren't they talking about the 25th player?
Who would that be?
Because I didn't know Shambo was on season 50. Okay. Is nobody talking about Ozzy and that mullet and that buff out there looking like Shambo?
People are talking about it. People are talking about it.
Okay. Because shout out to Shambo. We need to find out if that's what Ozzy was going for.
Had to be.
Another idol or advantage that I thought hearing about it, the Billie Eilish, when we heard about that, I thought I was going to hate it. But having Genevieve find it and reading it and learning that you bequeath it to someone, and if the person gets voted out
with it,
it gets bequeathed back to you. I love that. And I love the fact that the idol goes to the person and the person can only play it for themselves.
Yeah.
Love it. And he has to play it up until final 5. And so it's like, I love that, because it's kind of like that. What is it? When they all go for, it's kind of like the amulet when it comes together. It reminds me of that, and I love it. My only issue is with Genevieve telling her alliance. I feel like it puts her at a disadvantage, because for me, I'm not going to tell you who I give it to, but hopefully that person makes it so I can set them up.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, I mean, I think when they showed the 50 teaser after the 49 finale, all these celebrity, like the Billie Eilish boomerang out, I was like, what are we doing? but I think I like the advantage. And if Billie Eilish wants to stamp her name on it, so be it. I think it's an interesting mechanism. I think the amulet reference is a great call because it's one of those things where it could be a bridge to work with someone, or it could be some fuel to maybe go against them. And there's a lot of strategic nuance to it that could really help your game. I love advantages where the great players, it's really going to help their game. And if you're not a great player, it actually might be a disadvantage for you. And I think that's kind of what this is. Because maybe it drives Genevieve to target Ozzy. You know what I mean? What do you guys think if you get this advantage? What's your calculus on who you would be giving it to? Because I don't know if I think Ozzy was the right choice.
Right. And they used the reference that, Sari voted him out with an idol and he's playing with Sari. For me, I'm not using it as a negative. I'm using it as a building bond. Like I don't want to give it to somebody that I think is going to get voted out. I want to give it to someone unsuspecting and again, someone like a Genevieve. I think it was smart of her to give it to an older player. Like connect the bridge for me. I'm thinking of if it were me and I'm out there and I'm Genevieve, I'm probably going to give it to Chrissy Hoffman. Hoffback.
Well, they're the same.
Are they on the same tribe?
Oh, wait. Okay. No, I don't think so. No, you're right. Chrissy's on teal. Although, I mean, I hear you. I don't know if that's the connection that she would ideally want to make, but I do hear you of especially you already all kind of know people, just give it to someone you want to work with, right? Or the flip side of that, which I think she was thinking more is who might get voted out with this? To me, Ozzy's not usually someone who goes out early because he's good in challenges. And B, she was referencing all the people that had been voted out with an idol in their pocket. I was sort of don't you think the people that had that happen to them would probably be less likely to have that happen again because they might be I really don't want to mess that up again?
But hasn't that happened though? Hasn't somebody gone home with an idol twice?
Well, no. Well, I'm saying Ozzy went home with an idol. Tiffany went home with an idol. But it's she mentioned maybe I'll give it to Tiffany. But I feel Tiffany, maybe if she gets an idol now, she's I could not go home with this. I am going to play this. Whereas, I mean, they might not know the Rizzo lore, but I'd be give it to Rizzo. He's never playing that thing. So I don't know, but it'll be I don't know if Ozzy was the best choice, but it's there's not really a exact right choice. So I'm curious to see how it plays out.
I think I would have just sent it to an idol. I mean, to an ally. Send it to an ally.
The only thing is Genevieve isn't the most connected. She hasn't played with anybody, but she probably does know some people.
And if they ever get on the same island, that's the olive branch. Yo, I sent it to you. I want to work with you. Or it's yo, I sent it to you. I want to work with you. And then she could work to pick him off. And then she gets her idol back.
Yeah. And the other interesting component of that, which I don't even know if she knew when she gave it out, is that, if you're giving it to an ally, they can only play it for themselves. So it's not it might help your group if they're the target to make a move, but they can't play it for you. So I don't know. It's
for me, or you could have given it to someone a big, a coach, right? And then hopefully you get merged and then you start dropping the bomb that he got an idol, right? Kind of what I would use to kind of smoke it out and also potentially, gain roads with people to, you could use that in your back pocket to get the smoke off of you, an ally, and kind of it's a great Billie Eilish.
I think thinking about it more, I think the basic factors that I would account for to make a decision here, I think I would say, who is the biggest combination of somebody that I want to work with, who I think will be targeted early? Because if they're targeted early, if it's someone you want to work with, it's okay, cool. They might, if they have it when I link up with them, that's a good vibe. If they get targeted early, either they get voted out with it and I get it back, or they play it successfully and it saves someone that I want to work with, and perhaps it causes some fractures in their tribe. You know what I mean? So I think that's obviously there's a little bit more at play, but I feel like those are the basic two things where I'd be like, who's like the best combination of that for me? Because it really feels like you don't giving it to Ozzy. If she doesn't want to work with Ozzy might like it could kind of come back to bite you. But if you give it to someone you want to work with, it's like it really can't hurt you a whole lot. Agree?
Well, yeah. I agree. But again, Ozzy, from what we have seen, seems to be locked in with Cirie and seems to be trying to squash beef and lock in with people. So it could potentially work out in her favor. So, and I just like the fact that Ozzy is now stacked. And although I don't really like people being stacked this early, because for me, I always say, when you are stacked so much, it's more likely for you to fumble. And we know that Ozzy clearly is a physical threat, but hasn't always been the most strategic threat. And it will be interesting to see how he plays it. And if you are even more interested to see how he plays it, you could go to one of his tour stops and watch what happens. He'll be in Boston and Chicago, and he wants to go to Austin and Miami. So we'll have to keep you posted. Can I ask y'all a question?
Yes.
Was I the only one wondering when Coach put his toe ring on Charlie? Was I the only one wondering like what it smelled like? Because I would like to know. I could kind of picture it. Like, I kind of like know what it kind of already would smell like. Cause it's like, mind you, like I said, I experience things through smell. And so like, I've smelled people's rings before. So, but like the toe a little different cause it's sweat with the socks. And so like, do y'all think it would be weird when I meet Coach? I'm asking like, if I don't want to try it on, but can I smell it? Do you think that's weird? Should I do that or no?
You should absolutely do that as long as I'm not around.
Because I want to know what it smell like. Because I feel like it got a little, that metal smell with a little hint of like
the Amazon
hot, sweaty, like, I don't know. Like, that was the first
And what about that is appealing to you, Brice?
It's not appealing. It's just something that I've never smelled.
It's educational.
So I need to catalog it.
You never smelled like elephant shit before either, but
I actually have. I was in Thailand. We went to Thailand. We rode elephants. The elephant pooped. I definitely smelled it. It smells a lot like horse and cow poop.
Makes sense. I don't know if I would lead with asking about the smell part specifically.
But why not? I feel like Coach would get it. I feel like Coach would be like, I don't know, but that was the first thing that.
I'm sure he'd let you scope it. I was thinking more from Charlie. I was like, didn't Coach just say he hasn't taken this off since like 88? I mean, that might be carrying like, in bacteria or something. Not putting that on my toe.
Here you go. The way I put my toe up, so I'll be jealous. If I was on that trial, Charlie would be getting voted out next. Coach put his ring on Charlie anyway.
Andy would have taken issue with that. He's like, Coach doesn't put his toe ring on me after I start the fire. Should we talk about the immunity challenge?
Yes.
I think two big takeaways here.
Give it to us.
Cirie struggled. And as Christian sort of put it, that and again, this is another challenge. Like the opening challenge, everyone sort of has to step up at some point, which I liked. Cirie's portion was, as Christian said, a bottleneck to the challenge, which essentially means like nothing else. I mean, kind of like nothing else can occur unless this specific instance is completed. Like if this stalls, it stalls everything else. There's no like working around it. So we have that. And then we also have Kyle's injury, which was tough. I mean, just seeing the way that he landed on it, you could kind of tell something got messed up. And I was impressed that he was able to finish the challenge. I mean, they still got second place in the challenge. But those are two things that I think obviously set forth some domino effects, both for that Orange Sela tribal, and then also, you know, down the line with Kyle's health as well. What kind of stuck out to you guys in both of those regards?
Let me talk about our girl for a moment.
Yes.
Our queen, okay? In Jenna's Exit Press and in a Dalton Ross article, they said that she was struggling on that bottleneck portion for a while, like 15 to 20 minutes. We love Sari, but man, it hurt to watch that. And apparently Savannah said, "Hey, look, I just did this challenge 2 weeks ago." And Sari said, "Hey, look, I've been practicing this at home."
Yeah, here's my thing. Y'all know I don't play about Mother. Mother is right above my head. I love Sari. And like we said last episode, and somebody was in the comments, I think it was like Jack Quackles, where y'all want to hold us accountable. That was, I think their name was like Jack something. Y'all want to hold, they said, Wendell and Brice, I don't want no but here you go. Sari should have went home. Like, period. Like, and again, y'all want me to be honest on 50. I love Queen Mother.
Whoa.
Sari, y'all, you should have sent her home, period. Like, there is no ifs, ands, or buts. Sari should have went home. Like, and the fact that y'all did not send her home is kind of crazy. And crazy in the fact of, this is how Sari is going to win season 50, because y'all should have got her out. You should, okay. So I need y'all better be up in these YouTube comments talk about, okay, Brice, you keeping it a buck this season, because I don't play about Sari. But in that moment, like, that was hard to watch.
And there's a couple reasons why she should have went home. One, she's Sari. Don't put her anywhere near the end. Yeah. 1, 2, clear shot at it. Clear shot. And 3, a very compelling reason to do it. She just was the reason for that. And 4, if we're thinking about this portion of the game with these kinds of physical challenges going forward, she's not great at these physical challenges.
I tend to agree. And yeah, it's less about like, I mean, Sari is one of the greats. And it's not because of her challenge track record. It's because of all the other skills that she brings to the table. And so I kind of agree with everything you guys are saying. Like, also 24 players this season, there could be a lot of pre-merge challenges. You know, that's a big factor. She's also, like you said, Brice, time and time again, this is what she does. This is how she makes it so far every season. You have a shot, take it. And now that we're getting a little bit more into those voting dynamics, what I will say in sort of my theory as to why they did keep her and why I think it's like reasonable enough. I mean, well, Jenna came in a little bit more chaotic. Sari's always very level-headed and people love her. And like, maybe at this point in the game, you'd rather have that. Although it's like, you know, Sari is one of the greats. Like a Jenna Lewis who is coming in a little frantic, not the biggest threat to win. Unpredictable, not a huge threat. But the biggest thing to me is I think knowing with this many players, there's probably going to be some swaps. And so for me, I'm guessing that their sentiment was, let's vote unanimously, keep the tribe strong in terms of like unification and keeping Ozzy happy as a challenge beast. And if we swap, then at least we can still all be together. Whereas if we vote out Sari, Ozzy is going to be pretty unhappy. And we can't really then vote out Ozzy also because like we kind of need him for the challenges. But it's that sort of thinking that is literally the reason that Sari slips through so often, where I do sort of think like it doesn't. Well, I mean, like it slips through in a good way. Like this is how she does it every time, despite not being great in the tribal challenges. And then she gets to the merge and works her magic. So yeah, it's like all those factors considered. Maybe like this is the most clear shot you're ever really going to get at Sari.
Maybe they're like, all right, that's the thing. Like there are players you don't want them to get momentum. If you have a clear shot, you got to pick players off. And that's what happened in Winners at War and why people were mad at a lot of people, because it's like, yo, if we get a clear shot, I'm not trying to sit at the end next to fill in the blank. Like there are a handful of them on Winners at War. It's like that person is an automatic win. And in this case, like, shoot, Tony on Winners at War. We're on DeKalb Beach, and he's just like, he's so different than he was his first 2 seasons. It's like, man, we'll get homeboy out anytime. He turned it on. And just sprinted to the end and dusted us all. Like, you can't give these people momentum. Matter of fact, I remember, you can't give these people momentum.
Yeah.
Here's also why we love newbie seasons, like all newbie seasons, but there are some times why we love returnee seasons. For instance, in a situation like this, where we are saying, Sari should have went home. However, she aligns with Ozzy, right? And if this were a newbie season and say Sari, everyone's there, this is their first time, and Sari and Ozzy, they're connected. I don't know how likely Ozzy is going to be going to the other people that are already saying Sari and standing up for her, right?
Yeah.
But because this is a returnee season and balls to the wall, right? Like, people are going to make big moves or like power moves. They're going to beat on their chest, and look what happens. Like, they fold. And so why I love to see it, because it's so interesting, because these are some of the moves you would never see in a newbie season, or if you were to see it, they go home, or like it would be Sari or Ozzy going home. But Ozzy went up there and said, "What's up? What's up? Hey, Joe. Yeah, I know you. I know you, big dog Joe, but what's up?" And what Joe say? Joe said, "Okay, Ozzy, all right." Ozzy said, "Emily, you want some of this?" Emily said, "Absolutely not." Okay. Ozzy said, Kristen said, "You want some fire?" Okay. Like, I love those power moves. And it's just, sometimes you're sitting at home, it's like, what are you doing? But you're out there. And like, when someone speaks up, because that's a big thing on Survivor that I feel like it's not talked about enough, which is why I give props to Jenna. Because sometimes it's just people just speaking up. So early on, people are followers. Reminds me of Kagion, where I'm like, y'all don't see LJ, but like LJ spoke up, like he had his people. And so it's just like, again, when y'all go out there, because I know y'all going out there, like, don't be scared to make a move. Again, it might Jenna you, it might Ozzy you, but like, you gotta play.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying, I want the comments on the YouTube.
He's talking to y'all.
Jack Wackles.
That's my burner account.
I know it is, Jack. With Kyle, so hard to watch, right? To see this, because in my opinion, respectfully, Kyle's the better Wendell, right? Like, Kyle is like, Kyle the better Wendell. So like, I feel like watching this was like Wendell 3.0. Like, it's like, yes. And it's Black History Month when it's airing. And it's like, Kyle's the nucleus of this tribe. And also, I don't know what Kyle has been doing from his last season to this season, but Kyle a little thick in the thighs, Kyle a little thick in the chest. Kyle, I'm like, okay, Kyle with the little buff on. I was like, now, okay, Kyle. But to see this black man out here doing it, and he gets hurt. And the thing for me that got me was, clearly we know he is in pain. Like you can't even walk on it. The doctor's out there, and Kyle is dismissing everything. Okay, yeah, we're good. No, I'll figure it out. It's okay. They're like, it might be permanent. What's permanent? Okay, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it later. They're like, but you can't walk on it. How you gonna get up there? Kyle like, shut up. We'll figure it out. We got it. Jeff's like, hey, Kyle, we're worried about y'all. Fuck my health. Okay, thank you, Jeff. Like, it's like the way he was minimized. I was like, this man loves the game. Like, this man loves the game.
Yeah.
Oh, that got me. And then Quintavious, say whatever you want about Quintavious. Quintavious jumped right down there.
Yeah.
I kind of thought for a second, though, Quintavious was regretting jumping down so quick because Kyle was on top of him. Quintavious was like, oh, shit. He really can't move his leg. Quintavious was like, but like the way he didn't hesitate, the way like, I loved just to see that camaraderie, but like, broke my heart.
What hit me was there was a moment when they were down working on Kyle and they panned up to Q and you just saw him like with his head down. And that hit, that hit hard. Obviously, when Kyle told his tribe and everyone's crying, that hit hard. I texted Q today and I was like, man, these were some deep moments. And he was like, you don't even know the half. Kyle jumped down to like help someone and run up again or whatever he was doing. He was like, I said I wanted to do that. And Kyle said, no, I'm going to do it. He jumped down and he hurt his ankle at that moment. So like Q was like, I could have or would have done that. Like I would have been down there doing it all right or something like whatever it is. But like that was so hard to see because like y'all said, Kyle is such a good survivor player. And in this tribe specifically, with him, this brain, this social, this strong player with Q's strength, with Colby's strength, with Genevieve's strength and brilliance, like he really was that glue guy that he was before. Well, not the glue guy was Sam, right?
Yes.
But Kyle is a nucleus of sorts, and on this tribe, he was that guy. And losing a Kyle I'm scared for this tribe now. Because he's arguably their strongest player.
Physically and mentally. And I think oftentimes in Survivor, over these 50 seasons, we've seen tribes that I personally feel like, and more in the older seasons, sometimes in the newer seasons, that like are catered to this like strong, attractive white man, right? Like he's the nucleus of the tribe, and like it works for them. And so to be on season 50 and to have this black man that recently won and is the nucleus, like the quintessential Survivor player, and to see him go out like this, it hurts. And add on, he your friend. Add on, like, how much he loves this. And just to add on the selflessness of him still, of like wanting to still continue. They're saying it could cause permanent damage. And he's like, how permanent?
Yeah, I was definitely super bummed about it happening. And I think going into the episode, it's like, okay, Kyle just won. He's going to be target. Like they literally saw him win 2 weeks before. He's going to be target number 1. And then somehow he's on this tribe playing his ass off, just like in the best spot. And you're like, oh, Kyle could really actually do this. Like that. And then for that to happen on the tail of that, when he was in such a good spot too. And you like you guys said, how bad he wants to be there. Like the heart that he has was tough. But I'm like, hey, at least he's fresh off a mill. He's right. Young, successful, and handsome. Things could be worse for Kyle, but I wish we still had him out there. I mean, he had a lot of game to give.
And I don't know if I should add this, but I will. I think I seen Kyle over the summer, and I seen him with an injury, and like I respect him so much because I'm like, oh my God, you okay? And Kyle like, basketball, Brice. I'm like, I'm getting old, and I'm like, that's what happened to Wendell. Like I'm like, y'all, like it never even dawned on me. Like, I'm just like, You can't play basketball. I just even respect him off the season because he could have been like, something happened. Like, just even like still, I just appreciate that. And I definitely feel like this is season 50. It's like we're seeing these legends. I feel like we will get to see a 3.0 Kyle at some point. I definitely feel like for sure.
And I saw in his exit press too that he was arguing with Jeff in medical for a lot longer as to why he should stay, like putting his lawyer hat on, being like, well, there was precedent with James in Heroes versus Villains when he got hurt. They let him stick around until he got voted out, trying to like make a case for himself to stay. Apparently, too, like when the doctor was doing that test on his Achilles, he was like trying to like wiggle his
own thing.
so
Oh
that
my
they
God.
would see that he was actually okay. Yeah, and even when he got injured right away, before they pulled him, we were just sort of talking about like, what is that line of like when they have, because we have seen people get hurt and be able to stick around, but I guess like, there's a certain line in this. I don't want to say this was a gray area because obviously you stay out there and you don't attend to your Achilles, like you might never walk on that leg right again. Like that's probably Survivor has an obligation to pull you out of there, but it's not like you're not going to die from tearing your Achilles. So I could see why Kyle's like, let me just stick it out and try. But like, again, I get why they have to pull him out. But in this, I would feel the same as Kyle of like, I'm not going to die. Like whatever. Let me just run it right now.
Pull him. Your pride wants you to stay. Yes. Your pride wants you to stay.
No, I know you got to pull. I know you got to pull.
Wants you to stay. Get your ass off the island.
Yeah, I'm not as strong as Kyle because the other day I stepped on a nail. Like not a nail, thumbtack. Baby, first of all, if that would happen to me, I'm putting on the show. Because first of all, because I don't want the doctor to tell me to continue. Okay.
Brice be like, take me.
They like, Brice, that's not the foot you fell on. But yeah, because I don't play with that pain. I wouldn't have been able to mask it. And again, like him masking that is crazy. But this is the game of Survivor, right? This is what we all signed up for. This is a potential outcome that could happen. And as sad as it is to see Kyle, right? And we want to see him play again, but this is the game. This is how, and so it makes me even more excited to watch the game to see now what is happening because of this. And now I'm like, with Q there, I'm like, Q, our brother just got, they took our brother out. Now it's like, let's go, Q. Clock in, Quintavious.
Yeah. And it's wild because Q and Colby both lost votes. So that alliance of 5 without going to tribal went from 5 of the 8 votes to now they have 2 with Genevieve and Stephanie.
Wow.
So, but I mean, I still got hope. Although, I mean, Kyle was like, to me, the face of that squad. Why I was really Kyle and Q. I don't know if I'm going to be rooting for Stephanie super hard, but I still feel like, Angelina, Aubrey, Rizzo, that's not necessarily a set counter alliance. So there's still a lot of wiggle room there for the likes of Q and for Genevieve. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's safe to say I'm excited for 50. I don't think I've been this excited probably since Ghost Island, Winners at War. Like I'm excited. I give Winners at War and Ghost Island some slack, but my brother was out there. I was excited.
Yeah.
So I haven't had this much vet in the game in the sense of like I feel like I know a lot of these people and I feel like it's going to be an epic season. And I want more.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how these things work. We got Mr. Beast coming at some point, I'm excited.
I forgot about that. Oh my God.
Hey, Billie Eilish did it right.
Okay,
Yeah,
you're right.
I have some hope for those. I mean, obviously we know Mr. Beast and a couple others, like I think Zach Brown, are like pulling up in person. We'll see what that has to. I think he's a country music artist. or Zach Brown. I think those are both people, but someone's pulling up. So the in-person, I just don't really want to hear Mr. Beast talk a whole lot, but maybe he's got something interesting to do. So
I don't want it. Nothing like the Beast game and Survivor crossover where Jeff took it over. Like I said before, Mr. Beast got 2 minutes. But yeah, I'm excited. This has been a great episode. Jack runs a strict program, so appreciate you, Jackery, for not toting the line and holding the baby boys accountable. We will be in Philadelphia next week with a host of friends with us. Ozzy is heading to Boston, and the Brice and Wen Road to 50 is ever so moving. And so if you want to join Ozzy or Wendell and I on the road, you can go to the Brice and Wen Present Instagram or Twitter page. Click the link in the bio, and we will see you on the road. The Survivor News Baby Boys will be back next week covering episode 2. We appreciate you all. Jackery, Wendeezy, it's been fun, but I do want to know how y'all podcasting this season, because I want to know. Because I'm Aubrey all season. I'm going straight to the source. What's up? We'll be back.
It's the Purple Pants Podcast. You better listen in public, might make your stomach hurt. Ooh. It's the Purple Pants Podcast. You're trying to unwind, you better get that box wine. It's the Purple Pants Podcast. You're trying to get your snack, you better hurry right back though. It's the Purple Pants. It's the Purple Pants.